Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Uncharted 1 Crushing Difficulty walkthrough, and this is chapter 16, also known as the Treasure Vault. And this is the big contraption of doom. You can't be a self-respecting adventure game without having a big contraption of doom. And we're gonna set things in motion by turning a big, what's it called, water wheel. And I always find it interesting. And here's something I want to have your input on. I know it's because video games and movies, but in all these types of games and movies, there are always these big things, hundreds of years old most of the time, and they work flawlessly when you start them. I wonder if they have like a trap janitor coming in, greasing all the wheels and making sure all the scythes are sharpened and keeping the fires burning in these big spiked cages. What do you think? Or were they just better technicians than we are today? Because maybe it's because of programmed aging or calculated aging in modern technology, but everything nowadays has a tendency to spontaneously explode the day the warranty has been voided. The day after the warranty goes out, you're fucked. But let the old Indians or natives build a contraption, it will work till the end of time. But anyway, in one of my previous videos I talked about that you have to do a speed run of 3 chapters to get the platinum trophy. Also a quick note here, you can't cling to the side to get past those because there are spikes there. I'm quite sure you saw it, but I just want to point that out in case you missed it. Haha, point that out. Now where was I? Yes, the speedruns. This is the 3rd and final chapter you have to do a speedrun on to get the platinum trophy, and this is by far the hardest of the 3. The other ones are the fortress and heading up a river, I think it's called. Yes, heading up a river. And this, as I said, is the most difficult. I recommend that if you're going for that speedrun trophy, if you make a mistake, always restart the chapter. Don't try to restart checkpoint because it's quite a tight window to get past this. And since those traps can be a bit random in their swinging, I don't think there is a set timer, so if you reach it in a certain time, they will always be in the exact same place. But reset the chapter and try again. It took me a few tries, but it's not insanely difficult, and a lot of them are a lot harder than this. But make sure you map your route through this chapter first. And there are some fights you can run past. I'm gonna talk a little about that when we get there. But before you get that far, there is one big firefight, as there are in almost all the chapters of this game, except for chapter 1 and 2 maybe. We always end up in a gauntlet. And I made a little mistake in the previous chapter. I brought a gun and a shotgun into this chapter. That was a big mistake on my behalf. I should have mentioned it in my previous video, but I had forgotten about it, and I realized it when I watched this before commenting it. Because you should try to bring an assault rifle in here, because I edited out a short cutscene there where Nate talks to the villain of this game, can't remember his name. But fall back to this position, and this is where you want to be through this fight. Because there are quite a few enemies on the other side, there are some enemies up to your right, and you're completely safe from the enemies up to your right when you stand over in this position. And also, none of the enemies, or almost none of the enemies, will try to rush you when you're over here. And also on the other side of this, we call it a gorge? Whatever. On the other side of this walkway, there are 2 enemies with magnums. You know, West 44's insta-kill Dirty Harry style. And on my first attempt at this fight, I tried being more aggressive. I had forgotten about the guys with the magnums. And I was doing pretty good. Actually, I was, as I said, being very aggressive. Popped off some headshots. And suddenly, I just instantly died. And at first I didn't realize what happened. I thought maybe Elena died due to some mistake I did. It happens very rarely, but she can die in this game. Usually she dies from you trying to progress too far or in the wrong direction. So that's the game's way of telling you you're heading the wrong way, or you're trying to bypass something they don't want you to bypass. But the reason I died is, as I said, 2 guys with magnums. And they are relentless. But this is a great position to be in. You're gonna have to be a little bit patient and just try to line up your aim and take your shots as you get an opportunity. Because at this distance, the gun is really good, but at this distance, the reticle seems pretty big in not accordance with, compared to your target. I can't remember the word I was looking for right now. But after you take down this big wave of enemies, a second wave is gonna spawn in when you reach that second set of pillars on the other side. And one of those guys is a grenade launcher guy. And now I know that almost all of them are dead. As you can see, once again, the music has died down. More or less. No, the music. Now it started up again. But there are still at least 3 enemies left. And as I said, some guys are up there to the right. But as long as you stay in that back position. If you stay in that position a bit back, they will never have a chance to hurt you. If you're really lucky, Elena will take all of them out while you concentrate on the enemies on the other side. And here comes one of the shotgunners, and I get amazingly lucky here. Because I whip off a shot from my shotgun, he throws in a grenade, and I fall back because I don't want to blow up, and here he comes running. He missed me barely and decided he wanted to torture me for a little bit longer and not fire. And you all know from that no matter what distance, if a magnum hits you, you're dead. No buts about it. Even if it hits you in the butt, you're dead. No discussion. Relentless. And now we only have one one guy left. I know nothing about his sexual orientation. But I recommend picking up the magnum at this point. Because as I said, the second spawn is gonna spawn in when you reach the second set of pillars. And there is one guy up there. And there is gonna spawn in a grenade launcher guy from that door to the left. So focus on that. And I wasn't quite sure where he would be. I knew he was coming, and I wasn't quite sure where the trigger point was. So I'm being a bit cautious. I move up to this pillar and I can see him coming in. There we have him. So what you want to do here is put this pillar in between you. Because now you're safe. He can't hit you over here. He can only hit the other side of that pillar. And there's not much to stop the grenade to the right, because that cover was blown up. And these walls are destructible. You can see little stones piled on each other. That means it can be destroyed, so you're not safe if you try to hide behind it. It can take maybe 1 grenade. I'm not quite sure if it can take 2, I wouldn't bet on it. But you may duck down there and find after 1 grenade that you're sitting with your ass swinging in the breeze. and that is not a good position to be in. But we have taken down the biggest fight and the biggest threat in this chapter, and I'm gonna get amazingly lucky right now, because I knew from previous runs that there is a guy standing over to the right with a shotgun. What I had forgotten is that there is a guy with a grenade launcher over to my left, and I become very aware of his presence right there. And the worst part about this, as you're gonna see right now, is that I wasn't quite sure where that grenade came from. So I'm still focused on the guy over to the right. I was thinking to myself, oh, does he have a grenade launcher? Do I remember this wrong? But I can't see him, so where are the grenades coming from? And then I see the smoke trail of one of them. I realized, like, there's one guy over there. So learn from my mistake. Take out the guy on the left before you go for the guy on the right. Because the guy on the right is set up as a trap. You can see him standing right there. And it's quite easy to miss, and he usually doesn't do anything until you start progressing up those stairs. So he is placed there for you to walk past him and get a full load of buckshot straight to your back the very second you go past him. But since we know he's there right now, and now he is dead, so always try to get the upper hand. And also these three guys, I think if you're going for the speed run, you can skip these guys. You can progress forward, or either way you can be quite aggressive. And one of them has a magnum. The guy in the middle has a magnum, so be very cautious. And look at this. This is trolling. Saw that? I shot him straight in the chest, and he survived. He took a magnum bullet straight into his apparently bulletproof tank top. Maybe they sell it at Bad Guys R Us. But that is bad programming, people. There was no logical way, even for this game's roughness, for him to take that shot and survive. He barely even flinched. But anyway, I followed it up with a second bullet, down he went. And now we just have two enemies left. We have this guy over here on the left side. Quick round of assault fire on him. Assault fire. Wow. That's great English. Assault fire. And I'm gonna pick up the AK because it has 8 more bullets. And now there is one guy down to the left as well. And also, if you're going for the speedrun, these guys run past them. Put the game on easy and just be aggressive, run, and do that somersault thing when you press circle and you start rolling on the ground. They will have a hard time hitting you, and they will most likely not be able to kill you. And now all the enemies are dead, and you can just progress towards the end of the old contraption of Doom. Don't know who built it actually. I think it's Spanish. Maybe. Anyway, this was chapter 16. And I want to thank you very much for watching. And I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.